Welcome into On Texas Football. We got a new segment we're going to call On the Road. Gerry Hamilton, you're on the road with South Point Dodge, our friends over on the Motor Mile in Austin. Give them a call, 888-698-9339. That's South Point Dodge, our friends there. Hey, Gerry, I got to say this. You're on the road. You were in Missouri City yesterday talking with Cade Phillips, the defensive back out of Fort Bend Hightower. We're going to include that interview here in this show later. But before we do that, I want to talk a little bit about the defensive backs in whole that Texas is recruiting. Phillips, clearly one of those guys, but there are four others that you want to mention. Let's give folks a taste for that, and then we'll cut to the Cade Phillips interview. Who are the five right now that you've kind of got circled?
Yeah, so we'll start in Fort Bend County there, right? An area that Texas has needed to do better in the last decade in recruiting. We mentioned Cade Phillips. 6'2", 180, 80-inch wingspan, 10.25-inch hands, 24/7 long jump, plays receiver, plays corner, can play safety there at Hightower High. We'll get to that interview here in a few minutes. Blake Gideon's actually going to be by the school today at Hightower, from what I was told yesterday on my visit there. Kevin Curtis from Baylor was there yesterday. Obviously, I think this recruitment could come down more to Texas, LSU. I think A&M's third and Baylor on the peripheral. I think he's going to play in the SEC. Michigan's trying to get a visit. That's one. Then Caleb Chester. I think Terry Joseph will be through Fort Bend Marshall this week to see Caleb Chester, the corner out of Fort Bend Marshall. They also have the 2026 safety Isaiah Williams, who's going to be one of the top safeties in America, who Texas already offered, and they're all over him. But sticking in the 25s, Caleb Chester will visit Arkansas, LSU, Texas A&M, and Texas. Again, so similar recruitments, right? I mean, SEC, it appears is where Caleb Chester is going to head for college football. Really good natural cover guy. Maybe he doesn't get the fanfare or some others. Then you go north to Conroe, Texas. Terry Joseph was by Conroe High yesterday, met with Dorian Brew and his mom. And that's that one visit you get this spring. Dorian Brew's visiting Texas June 7th through 9th. On Texas Football broke that news last week. He has that official visit to Ohio State the 21st through 23rd. LSU is going to be a factor. USC or Oregon's going to be a factor. But really, I think it comes down to Ohio State, Texas, and LSU for Dorian Brew. And I think Texas is doing pretty well in that recruitment right now. Then you go to the state of Louisiana. Terry Joseph was at Ruston High last week to see Aiden Anding. He's a guy that may not be as ranked as high as some other corners, but Texas has him very high on the board. He's a guy that's a tremendous basketball player, one of the best three-point shooters and guards in the state of Louisiana. Got back into football this last year, had a heck of a season on the Friday night football field, but really took off in recruiting at the Under Armour camp in Dallas in early March, where he put up some nice testing times on really laser start, laser finish testing times, which when you run in the 4.5s and a 4.1 shuttle at the Under Armour camps, I was part of those for years, that's really put you in the top 3-4 percentile in the country. So Aiden Anding, talented corner. I think that's a Texas and Miami top two, with TCU and Arkansas trying. Some others are other schools are going to offer here coming up and may try to get in the mix. But I really think Texas and Miami are the two. Then Devin Williams out of Beaufort, Georgia. A couple of Texas coaches are by there last week, or a couple of weeks ago, I should say. Devin Williams, Auburn commitment, top 200 ranked prospect in the country, corner. He's visiting Auburn June 14th through 16th. He goes to Texas the 21st through 23rd. The question there, he's a wild card. He's never been to campus before. The question there is does he leave that Auburn visit June 14th through 16th and still make the Texas visit? I think that's the question that has to be answered. Total wild card recruitment. Then another guy that everybody asks about, Texas will continue to make a run. Jonah Williams at Galveston Ball. Wants to play safety at the next level. Will he be safety long-term? Now, I think that's up in the air. A&M and Oklahoma, the two to beat there. Texas made up a little ground, but hasn't made up big ground there. That's a football-baseball combination recruitment. I think A&M has been the trending team this spring after Oklahoma was trending big in January.
I just want to say this. It's clear that Texas is trying to go after the top-shelf guys that have speed and athleticism at DB. That would be normal. A guy like Cade Phillips is one of those. You mentioned Aiden Anding too, Gerry, which I think is kind of cool. Anding is a guy that is along that I-20 corridor in Ruston. They're also recruiting James Simon, the running back out of Shreveport, also along that I-20 corridor. So Texas may not be going South Louisiana this year as much as they are North Louisiana. So keep in mind.
Yeah, some history with the state of Louisiana. When LSU is recruiting really well in their home state, I-10 is difficult, right?
Yes.
That's difficult. And now with Corey Raymond and Bo Davis teaming up with Frank Wilson, I mean, that's kind of the I-10. That's a pretty strong I-10 trio there, especially Corey Raymond and Frank Wilson, all those years of recruiting the New Orleans area, the BR area. So getting Derek Williams 2 years ago was a really big one for Texas, because that would be tougher today. But if you even look at Nick Saban at Alabama over the years, I-20 is where you can go in and get really good players, and those kids are more willing to leave the state. I mean, you think of some of those guys, the Cam Robinson, a first-round pick, offensive lineman out of West Monroe. Texas went to Monroe Neville a couple of years ago, recruited the big-time Zalance Hurd offensive lineman there that went to LSU, is since transferred to Tennessee. But you go into North Louisiana, Ruston, West Monroe can be tougher. Neville, some of those schools, Ouachita Baptist, some of those schools, you can get really talented players out of North Louisiana, even the smaller towns there, Manny, some of those towns that produce some kids every now and again. I-20 is the place you'll have, over time, you'll have more success recruiting in Louisiana than along I-10.
Gotcha. All right. Before we get to this Cade Phillips interview, I want Gerry Hamilton to speak about our sponsor, and that is the folks over at South Point Dodge.
Hey, Texas fans, score an easy extra point this season when you get to the point at South Point Dodge. South Point Dodge has over 600 vehicles in stock, and their award-winning sales staff doesn't do games or gimmicks. They just get straight to the point by getting you the very best deal possible. So score big today at South Point Dodge. Come see us off I-35 in South Austin or at southpointdodge.com. Get to the point at South Point Dodge. And look, South Point Dodge is Austin's automotive everything. Are you looking to sell your car? Get the South Point's best offer over the phone or online. Get top dollar for any maker model, even if you don't buy from us. South Point Dodge is home of the real deal. Period. Right. South Point Dodge.
Good stuff, Gerry. That's On the Road with On Texas Football. And now we take you to this interview with high priority target for the Longhorns, Kade Phillips out of Fort Bend Hightower.
Welcome into On Texas Football. My name is Gerry Hamilton at Hightower High today in Missouri City, talking to four-star defensive back Cade Phillips, also one of the top long jumpers in the state of Texas and the country. By the way, congratulations on your, was it fourth place? Third place at the state meet, got that bronze. What was that jump?
I ended up with just a 23.11.
23, and your season high was 24.7, and you did that once or twice?
I did it twice.
Twice, 2 meets in a row, didn't you?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so Cade, you're fresh off, I guess, a visit to Baylor was your first visit there in late April. You've been on a number of official visits. What was that first official visit like? How was it different than the unofficial visits?
With the official, they just showed me a lot of love and, just got to hang around with all the players. And, they really just set the tone for the rest of the official visit. So,
yeah. What stood out about Baylor to you?
Really just, the coaches, they really want you there. It's like a family feel at Baylor. So that's really what stood out.
And before we get into the next official visits, what about position? Okay, you play receiver, you play corner. You can play anywhere in the secondary in the next level. What are schools recruiting you to play? What do you have? Do you have a preference?
I really don't have a preference. I just want to get on the field, but. Mostly all schools are recruiting me at corner except Texas. They're recruiting me at safety.
Okay. So that doesn't matter to you though. Okay. All right, so your next official visit is what?
June 7th.
And who is that?
A&M.
That's Texas A&M. Okay. You've been to A&M a number of times. Obviously, your brother signed there, had a knee injury, still goes to school there. What's A&M's message to you right now headed into that visit?
Really just get down there again. But I've been there so many times, so really just get down there, have a good time, and just talk, really. So.
What's the difference you see or feel from the last staff to this staff? Because you've been around both.
Really, I see a lot of similarities between the staff because like they both feel like family with me being around A&M so much with my brother, and so it's like they know me already. So
Right.
it's just yeah.
So Mike Elko was part of recruiting your brother, and so what does he tell you he sees in you as a player?
Just somewhere. I mean, someone that's real versatile. Like got a lot of versatility. He could play anywhere on the second ball.
Yeah, and then so after that you go to LSU, 14th through 16th.
Yes,
That's Corey Raymond, obviously. That's kind of when he got to LSU. That's when LSU turned up the heat, right? What are your thoughts on Corey Raymond?
You know, Coach Raymond, he's a great guy. You know, he checking on me like almost every day. Well, every day. You know, just calling me, asking me how I'm doing, asking about the family. So we have a really good relationship.
Yeah, and you've been to LSU unofficially, right?
Yeah.
When did you go there?
Oh, I went.
Was it their spring game?
Nah, it was like a couple of days before the spring game.
Okay.
It was like a Wednesday.
That was the first time you'd ever visited LSU. What were your initial impressions?
You know, it's a great campus, like great area. You know, for the first time for me seeing it, you know, just really taking it all in and seeing the campus, seeing the people, just all of that, seeing the way they practice.
So what coaches did you talk to from LSU when you were there?
I talked to the defensive coordinator,
Okay.
the head coach.
Coach Baker?
Yes, sir. Head coach. I really talked to like the whole staff when I went down there.
So what was Coach Baker's message to you before I get to what Coach Kelly's message is to you?
Really, Coach Baker, he was just talking about, you know, the not other programs, but like him being at the other programs, just how they operate, and just talking about LSU and bringing the group back together. So
Yeah. What about Coach Kelly?
Coach Kelly, his main thing was like just holding people accountable. You know, he's gonna hold even the highest players accountable. So like it's really no slacking off. So
Yeah. And when you go into these official visits, now that you've been to one, do you go in and listen, or do you go in with questions? Or are you just kind of taking it all in, or do you go in with questions?
really, I'm taking it all in because usually most of the questions I didn't like looked up or asked them already. So really just taking it in. But like if it's a question I need to ask, I'll definitely ask.
Okay. And then you have that final official visit, or maybe final official visit, will be Texas June 21st through 23rd. Mm-hmm. So kind of talk about your thoughts on Texas right now, and then I'll ask you kind of about Coach Gideon and Coach Sark.
You know, I have just a great area program, all of that, you know. It feel like family there too, you know, with all the recruiters and the coaches talking to me. It's just, I get a great vibe from there.
And Coach Gideon, obviously Texas recruiting you as a safety. What's your relationship with Coach Gideon like, and what are kind of your thoughts on him?
Our relationship we got a great relationship, you know. He calls me like almost every other day just to talk, you know, chop it up, and then we just have a great relationship, like, yeah.
So what was the message from Coach Sarkisian the last time you and your family were on campus?
Really, they just want to see me grow as a player. So they want me to get down there, get developed, and all of that, and just, you know, come in and compete.
Yeah. So anybody else that could potentially get an official visit? Guys can take unlimited. Obviously, you're not going to take 10 official visits. But anybody else that has a chance to get an official visit?
Really just Michigan and TCU.
Michigan and TCU. Okay. What is it about those two schools that maybe have your eye a little bit?
You know, with Michigan winning the national championship, so of course they gonna come out and compete, and you know, just I just want to go out there, feel the vibe from the team that's, you know, won the national championship. So
now, do you stay in contact with any players? Let's just say at Texas. Any players at Texas? You friends with anybody on that roster? Or ask anybody about Texas?
I've talked to Jordan Washington.
Okay. Okay. What has he told you?
He says he loves it. He loves it down there. You know, he feel like it's a great place. They don't allow that the bull.
Yeah,
I
got you.
They don't allow that. It's straight business down there. So you know, you gonna get down there and you're gonna get better. So,
yeah, it's obviously some Houston area guys. A guy like Kobe Sellers committed to A&M recently. Do you stay in contact with any other top-rated recruits in the Houston area?
Oh yes, I be I just had a workout with Devin, Sanchez, Kobe. It's really a bunch of people. I didn't forgot all their names, but yes, I stay in contact with a lot of people.
So is there a lot of recruiting that goes on? Are people trying to recruit you to those schools they're committed to? How does all that go?
I mean, sometimes, but really, it's really just all up to you, really. You know, they'll say a little bit about, you know, come on over, but nothing too serious for real.
Okay, so let's talk about you as a player. Again, on Texas football here, Hightower High with Cade Phillips, one of the top defensive backs in the country, and long jumpers, by the way. All right, let's talk about you as a player. So if we turned on the huddle tape and we were watching you, what would you say you do well?
I say probably the physicality at the line.
Okay.
Like pressing. So I like to press. You feel me?
Yeah. Okay, what else? What are a couple other things you think you do well?
Tracking the ball.
I was waiting for that,
Yeah,
okay? I was waiting for ball skills,
yeah,
okay?
My ball skills.
Okay. Yeah, because you got the 80-inch wingspan. For people that don't know, almost 6'2", about what do you weigh, 180?
Yes, sir, 180.
What's your wingspan, 80?
80.
How big are your hands?
Like 10.
10 and a quarter?
Yeah.
Okay, so look, that's what we call measurables in our business, right? So Cade has all the measurables, man. He has all those NFL Combine measurables and speed to go with the explosive ability. So what do you think you need to work on? That could be as a DB in general. It could be as a corner. What have you? What do you think you need to work on headed into your senior year?
Really just getting in the weight room and then getting bigger. And then I can also work on, like, staying patient. Like, instead of just going straight to using my, like, length, I could stay patient and feet first.
What do you love about football?
Just really, you can hit people. It's just the physicality part about it, you know? It's just...
What is it like? It's different, okay? Like, I just got back from the state of Florida, right? In high school football there, the talent's the same. There's very talented states, but it's different. What's it like playing Friday night football in Texas for you? What is that adrenaline rush? Because you watch your brother as well, right? You kind of grown up with it. What's it like?
It's just crazy. Like, you step on the field, you just, it's crazy, really. The atmosphere, they all yelling, cheering. You right there at the sideline, you hear the student sections. It's just a great thing for.
So you've been recruited for a long time now, and you're getting close to decision time. By the way, when do you want to have a decision?
Definitely by July.
Okay. So what is it you're really looking for? Because you've been through this long enough to know, okay, these are kind of things that are going to lead me in the path of one school. What are you looking for?
So really somewhere I can get, like, developed, but not just, like, on the field, but off the field, like, physically, mentally, spiritually. So, you know, and then somewhere where, like, the coaching staff is, like, an extension of my, like, family, for real, like my dad. So.
Without naming a school, is there one school that gives you that feeling headed into visits?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I'm not here to talk about that. That's your decision when you make that decision. How big are your parents in this decision for you?
You know, they're big in it, but at the end of the day, they say it's your decision, and we're gonna put in our input, but, like, it's up to you.
What are your goals in football long term? What do you want to get out of the game of football?
I really, to make it to the league, of course,
yeah.
And then, you know, set my kids up and their kids, and shoot, and my parents. Yeah.
What do you know what you want to study in college?
Not really, but I'm leaning towards, like, sports medicine or sports science.
Okay. So I was going to ask, what are those interests outside of football for you? What really grabs your attention?
Outside football.
Hey, if you're all football, that's even better.
Nah, for real, it's basically all football. It's just but I play the game every once in a while.
Yeah. Hey, did you surprise yourself when you went 24/7?
I did.
What was your personal best before that long jump?
Before it was 23.5. So
okay.
From 23.5 to 24.7. I was like, sheesh.
Yeah, that was a big jump, man, because I remember seeing that and I'm like, whoa, you get close to 25, you're talking about some crazy territory there. Do you plan to graduate high school in December, or are you going to stay for the spring?
I'm gonna graduate in December.
Okay. So, last thing, Cade, how difficult is this decision going to be when it comes down to it? Because it's recruiting's fun until it gets to June.
Yeah.
Then it gets you starting to feel the pressure.
Yes, I am.
How difficult is it going to be?
Oh, I mean, it's gonna be a big decision the next 3-4 years. Oh yeah, it's one of them decisions. It's gonna be a big decision.
What have you? And it'll be easier after you pick a school. But have you thought what it's going to be like to kind of run out on that field where there's 100,000 or 90,000 people around, and just kind of what that's going to feel like? I mean, you've been to games before, obviously. You've been to games at A&M. You've been to a game at Texas, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you've been to a game at LSU before. What other stadiums have you been to?
Just them two and Baylor.
Yeah. So what was that? What was that like being there? Because you try to visualize what it's going to be like for you, right? What was that like?
It's just crazy, like especially at A&M where they all just start rocking side to side. It just, I don't know, it's like surreal. Like especially you running on the field, seeing that. I don't know. I can't wait.
What Texas game were you at last year?
I went to Texas versus Kansas.
Kansas game. What were your thoughts watching Texas last year? What impressed you about Texas?
Really just their physicality, you know, they flying around to the ball, you know, defense making little mistakes, so it's just a great thing to watch, really.
Did you see their spring game?
No, sir.
You didn't see it? Okay, you were there a couple of weeks before that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so what is, I guess last thing for you then is when you sit down, I always say you sit down at a table to make that decision. Who's going to be there with you? Who are you going to talk to with that decision?
My parents and my brother.
And your brother. Okay, very cool. Very cool. That's Cade Phillips, 4-star defensive back, Hightower High, Missouri City, and this is On Texas Football. Thanks for joining in.
All right, Jerry, that was good stuff from Cade Phillips. What were your final thoughts there? I'll let you leave it at that before we get going here.
Yeah, Cade Phillips, the player. I think, look, Cornelius Anthony's the head coach at Hightower. Was a tremendous linebacker at A&M and in the NFL. Everybody you talk to around the Hightower program and now being around Cade Phillips 2 or 3 times, especially with that sit-down interview, I think he's going to maximize his talent. He checks all the boxes off the field. So I think Cade Phillips is a tremendous prospect. He's a 4-star guy, one of the top defensive backs in the country. I think he's a guy that's going to maximize his talent level, and that means he's going to have a chance to play football for a career. As far as his recruitment, I still maintain the same. I think Texas and LSU are the top 2. I think A&M's 3rd. I think he really likes Kevin Curtis at Baylor. I just think he's going to go play in the SEC. And Corey Raymond's recruiting him at corner. Blake Gideon and Texas are recruiting him at safety. He prefers corner, but I will say this. If Texas were the school he'd want to go to at the end of the day, I don't think it's going to be a deal breaker, the position. I think he'd just maybe get a shot at corner, prove what you can do. But if Texas is the school he wants to be at, I don't think position is going to be a deal breaker for the Longhorns.
All right, good stuff. That's On the Road with Gerry Hamilton over at Fort Bend Hightower High School, brought to you by our friends at South Point Dodge. Jerry, thanks for it. I know you got some other stuff coming up today. We're on the lookout. A lot of recruiting news on the break right now as coaches are out all over the state and across the country. For Gerry Hamilton, I'm Bobby Burton. Thanks for watching On Texas Football.